Maybe you heard it, maybe you saw it. I did. A lot of you on Facebook and Twitter said you did too. Lights and sounds booming through the darkness of night in parts of South Florida. The noise that is leaving many of us sleepless in the city.
Well, tonight we're showing you exactly what it was and what was going on. The 19's Mike Morris is live in Coconut Grove with the story. Mike?
Lynn, so the U.S. Department of Defense says it gave some notice to people in this area near Miami City Hall. A lot of those people include tourists that were down here visiting. So just imagine you sort of come down to South Florida, want to relax, nestle into your bed, and just after you click off 7 News at 11, this happens. It's like a scene out of an overseas military mission, but this is Coconut Grove.
We saw like flashes and shooting, and they like the Black Hawk had like a Gatling gun in the front, and you could hear it open up and fire off. And
for Art Tomczak, the 3-day U.S. military training exercise with Miami police added entertainment to his trip from Buffalo, New York.
We got a thing in our room that said that they were going to have maneuvers, but I figured it would be like the next day or something like that, but not in the middle of the night.
But witnesses say the training soared in the skies over Coconut Grove overnight.
All of a sudden I hear this zoom, zoom, and I go, oh, airplanes. I wonder how close we are to airport.
The simulation's so real, unknowing witnesses blew up social media, like Carlos, who tweeted, "What's up with all the planes and the big black helicopter flying over Miami? Feels like a Abbottabad." He's referring to the site of the deadly raid on Osama bin Laden in Pakistan last year. Some people even called 911.
A lot of people have called in a panic. It's no need to panic.
Similar training lit up the skies over Brickell last year. This time, it happened near Miami City Hall. Not so good if you're trying to sleep, but a bonus to tourists like Art heading back to Buffalo with yet another South Florida story.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool story. Yeah. My son will get a kick out of it, that's for sure.
So as Art makes his way back up to New York, the U.S. Department of Defense here and Miami police say at least this particular training exercise is now complete. So South Florida, sleep tight.
Yep, it's all entertainment. All entertainment. Black helicopters flying overhead like in Chicago doing drills. And now it's just a normal thing to see black helicopters in your neighborhood. And you like how that one police officer was saying, we don't understand what's going on with you people. You need to calm down. There's nothing to be worried about. Even though there was residents seeing people rappelling from black helicopters between 1 and 3 a.m. Hey, just calm down. This is to get you used to the police state. This is to keep you safe. So I'm going to continue on here. Scientists switch mouse's genes off and on with radio waves. You may have seen some of these articles, but like I said in Monday's video, I'm trying to catch up here. So it says here, some laboratory mice were given specifically engineered insulin-producing genes. These genes were then remotely activated using radio waves. This could mean a whole new field of medical procedures in which we could turn genes on and off at will. So, okay, who's going to have that power? Well, well, let's see. It says here, the breakthrough is the work of geneticists at the New York Rockefeller University. So that's who's funding it. That's who it's going to be in the hands of, who will be able to remotely activate radio waves and turn on your genes and turn them off at will. So, but this is going to be, of course, what? This is going to be groundbreaking for helping patients. So like every other news article, it's not really news. It's news for the hoopleheads, but for the sheeple. But for the people that control this technology, that are funding it, that are developing it, and are going to use it against us, the majority of the people, it's not news. It's actually public relations release. They're releasing this information to the public for public consumption, so that they can know now that hey, this has been available for about 20, maybe 50 years, but we're just letting you know now before we start using it on you. That's our little legal clause. And there's still a lot of refinement, improvement that needs to be done. So, it's way off in the distant future. So we're talking about the ability to modify the behavior of genes without ever going inside a patient's body. So it goes on and it says that part of this research, they coated iron oxide nanoparticles with antibodies that bind to whatever version of the temperature-sensitive ion channel. They injected the particles into the tumor, and then they used the magnetic field generated by the device, similar to a miniature magnetic resonance imaging machine, to heat the nanoparticles with low-frequency waves. So, just a quick little note here is that these aerosols that they're spraying, they include nanoparticles. And I don't know if most of you, I'm sure most of you have, but if you haven't, if you look around, you can't go a mile without seeing one of these big, humongous towers that are emitting radio frequencies. Now, what in the hell do you think that those things are doing to your body? They're remotely affecting your behavior. It says even better, researchers developed a way to achieve smaller results without having to inject nanoparticles at all. They have developed cells that can grow their own required nanoparticles, meaning there would be no need to give patients strange chemicals or molecules. Right? They don't want to actually see any of that. Kind of like the radio waves, they don't see it. It doesn't exist, emitting from their cell phones into their heads. But it goes on and says that this would still require growing tumors inside humans to actually get these cell cultures in place, which means the treatment isn't yet ethically permissible in humans. So just hang in there a few more years. Like I said, 2032. Let's see how it happens with the robots, right? Let's see if it makes our lives better. Domestic sonic warfare against the homeless. That's right. We have, having tried everything else, the managers of San Francisco's Civic Auditorium are blasting overnight homeless off their doorstep with the high decibel sounds of chainsaws, motorcycles, and jackhammers, top off with an aircraft carrier alarm. It says here that the bombast runs between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. And it goes on and it says that the concert promoter said that he has been left with no other choice after complaints about the homeless from people heading to and from the events. So the mayor's new homelessness chief, former supervisor, tells us police and social service teams are doing their best to get the situation under control. So it could look a lot like this, a shocking video of Kelly Thomas beating death released. Watch with caution. Go in there and check that out. This, of course, is the city surveillance video that shows a group of Fullerton police officers beating a homeless, mentally ill man to death last year. It was finally released today, laying to rest any argument that Kelly Thomas was a threat to the officers. So one of the things that he said was, "Now you see my fist," says the Fullerton police officer while slipping on a pair of latex gloves. "Yeah, what about them?" Thomas responded. "They're getting ready to fuck you up," says the burly cop, who appears to outweigh Thomas by 100 pounds. "Well, start punching," Thomas responds, never displaying any aggression. Moments later, as Thomas is standing while Ramos has ordered him to get to his fucking knees, it goes on and it says, walks up and starts beating his legs with a baton. Yeah, pretty crazy story. The guy couldn't breathe as the cops were telling him to relax, right? Just like in the video at the beginning. Well, just relax, calm down, no need to panic. And more cops eventually arrive, and a little more than 4 minutes into the video, they start tasing him. A little after 5 minutes in the video, as 3 cops are piled on top of them, beating him, tasing him, one cop looks up at another cop who just arrived on the scene and says, "Help us." So this is the mind control right here, right? Which is, even after 7 minutes into the video, when he was saying, "Dad, they're killing me," screaming that out when 6 cops are on top of him and Thomas is doing his crying for his father, they keep telling him to relax, relax as we beat you to death, relax, take a chill pill. Is there something wrong with you? Why are you fighting back? You shouldn't fight back. It says here, homeless to get mandatory RFID implants. This is from 2005. So this is how they treat the homeless guys, right? You're going to your opera house. You don't want to see those damn pesky homeless people that remind you that there's people that are a lot worse off than you. But remember this. It says here, electrical pollution. Are we being poisoned? So, but it goes on there and it talks about basically a prison guard who's posted up in one of these towers. He was in pretty good health when he started, but it goes on. It says that the heavy power lines strung just a few feet from the guard tower. This guy was actually concerned about his health. He actually carried a gauge up to his tower, and he goes, "They probably would have fired me if they'd known about that." See, that's how you know you're working for some douchebags, when you try to look after your own health, right? And then they say, "Oh, well, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna fire you because you're gonna make a complaint about these power lines and being stuck up there for what I think it was like eight hours a day." So finishing up, the gauge known as a tri-field milligauss meter quickly confirmed for Milan that his body was being saturated by a powerful electromagnetic field emanating from the wires, a force many scientists consider a dangerous form of pollution. Well, they always say, oh, there's a safe dose of radiation, though. In addition to power lines, television, microwave ovens, clock radios, remember that, clock radios are really bad. I actually measured those, are bad. Cell phones, too, they're really bad. Nearly any gadget, big or small, powered by electricity casts off invisible waves of EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, some way more than others. But it goes on and says that scientists for centuries, the last century, and doctors have told us not to worry. So the scientists and the doctors, guys, same people that tell you to put that eugenics, stick that eugenics in your arm, you won't get narcolepsy or anything. Absolutely, totally safe, says Stuart Beauchamp, a radiology professor at Baylor College of Medicine. He says EMFs can't hurt us because the waves simply don't produce enough heat to damage human cells in a way that could cause cancer, as cancer rates are at a humongous level and increase, right? But the homeless are going to get mandatory RFID implants. That's right, homeless people die after bird flu vaccine trial in Poland. So you remember this from 2008, 3 Polish doctors and 6 nurses are facing criminal prosecution after a number of homeless people died following medical trials for a vaccine for the H5N1 bird flu virus. So this is what they think about when they think of the homeless. Like in South Park, you know, let's turn them into tires, right? And we can use them and harness that. But let's not forget this article. Homeless people turned into walking Wi-Fi hotspots and charitable experiments. Ooh, another experiment on the homeless. And if you have been homeless, you know the biggest enemy for you is the pigs, because they will not leave you alone. They are there to protect these corporations. That's what they're there to do, and keep commerce flowing. And you know, a good indicator of our society. And let's not look at why there isn't enough jobs for people, why they don't have enough work. Let's just try to keep these people out of view, like, you know, when they're going to an opera at the Civic Center. Let's just get them out of the way so people don't have to see or think about it, like the radio frequencies. That's out of, you know, you can't, out of sight, out of mind, basically. So that's, you know, a good indicator of the society that we're living in is what? Is young people setting homeless people on fire. Okay, moving on to some Big Brother surveillance, more of it. Queen unveils draft internet super-snoop bill with clause. And it goes on here, says the Queen has detailed the government's upcoming program of law-making on a gray day darkened by the gloom of double-dip recession and plans to massively increase surveillance of the internet in the UK. It says here the CCDB program is a controversial project to allow security services and blightly to monitor the population online, which they're probably already doing. Again, they're just letting you know. It says here to access vital communication. That's everything, every communication, data under strict safeguards. So don't worry, they're going to keep your personal information basically safe to protect the public, to protect yourself. So Obama administration urges freer access to cell phone records. The U.S. Congress should pass a law to give investigators freer access to certain cell phone records, the Obama regime official said on Thursday. So just right in line with the Queen, right? His boss. It says, Army wants to monitor your computer activity. So it's in the wake of dumping classified information. A lot of that's just good people in the military, whistleblowing, whatever, telling just the horrendous things that are going on in your name, damaging your name, I guess, as an American, right? Like pissing on corpses and stuff like that, shooting people from helicopters, journalists. So, you know, they want to make sure that they go ahead and they watch every single soldier and what they're doing on their computer. This is no joke, as this Army cyber director is joking that it would take the place of lower tech solution, which is a guy with a large bat behind every user as they go to search the internet. CISPA revision allows DHS internet countermeasures, talking about Homeland Security, would be authorized to intercept and use data from federal government affiliated networks according to the new CISPA amendment. Then we have mobile scanner to be added to biometric data arsenal. So yeah, it goes on and says that a new mobile device called Seek 2 has been ordered by Customs and Border Protection for facial biometric ID. I remember DHS having the technology to be able to scan people's naked bodies, basically body scanners in mobile cars and vans. If you have a smartphone, anyone can now track your every move. Again, if you're a savvy individual, you should already know that they've been doing this, because that's what it is. It's a little GPS device, your cell phone, that it can pinpoint the location of the individual registered. Trojan uses motion sensors to steal smartphone data. Researchers have built a Trojan that uses Android's built-in motion sensors to steal handset and bank card pins. But that's not all. DNA destroying chip being embedded into mobile phones. And never mind the radiation that's already destroying your DNA in those. License plate tracking spreads beyond criminal suspects is what it was intended to do. And now surveillance cameras are powerful enough to read text, and some are having their utilities shut off because of unpaid red light camera tickets.